All right, thanks, James. Well, San Francisco Mayor London Breed is warning that an indoor mask mandate may return. This comes after changing guidance from the CDC and the California Department of Public Health about how easily the Delta variant can spread. So, to help explain some of this new information that's all coming in, joining us now is Dr. Bob Wachter. He is the chair of the Department of Medicine at UCSF. And Dr. Wachter, thank you so much for joining us. You had a recent tweet that summed up, I think, how many of us are feeling. You wrote, "Everybody's walking a fine line between honestly presenting new science, some concerning, and not causing overreaction." So give me your take on all this new science that we're getting and tell me why we shouldn't be overreacting.
Well, if you're confused, you're awake. There's a lot of stuff coming at us very quickly in the last couple of weeks. What we know is the vaccines work extraordinarily well in preventing you from getting very sick and dying. That is the great news. So that means if you're vaccinated, you should not overreact. You should feel pretty good. On the other hand, we now know that the Delta virus is about twice as infectious as the virus we were facing last year, and it's probably a little bit more serious. So that is concerning. We also know that people who are vaccinated almost certainly are capable of transmitting it. We don't know how well. So the combination of that means we've got to get more and more people vaccinated, and until we reach a higher level of vaccination, people need to be more careful than they might have been a month ago. And that means, to me, absolutely wearing masks indoors. I think that at this point, there's no doubt that that's the right thing to do.
And you think it's just a matter of time before we're all required to? I mean, do you think public health officials, especially here in California, in the Bay Area, will just say, you know what, we're going back, we're going to mandate it?
I think so. I think so. I think the evidence is pretty clear that we need to do that. And just take San Francisco. On June 1st at UCSF Medical Center, we had one COVID patient. Now we have about 40. A month ago or 6 weeks ago in San Francisco, the whole city, we were having 10 COVID cases a day, now 150, 180. So there's definitely much more virus around. And of course, none of us wants to go back to where we were, and all of us were thinking we were over with this thing. But
we did.
The virus had other ideas. So we've got to pay attention to what's actually going on around us.
We pay attention to numbers. I mean, we've watched so many numbers throughout this pandemic, and we watch vaccination rates, we watch, hospitalizations, and we talk about states like Florida. I mean, you just talked about the numbers here in the Bay Area, and we have high vaccination rates here. Places like Florida, which is considered an epicenter because it accounts for a fifth, I believe I saw, of all the new cases across the country. They do have hospitals trying to free up resources, and still a lot of people unvaccinated there. What does this tell you about the big picture? Because as we have opened up, what is happening elsewhere affects us when we're not in our bubble anymore.
Yeah, there's more virus all over the country, and particularly in places that have low vaccination rates. And so, no place is an island. The Bay Area is not an island. But I have to say, if you had told me 2 months ago that, for example, San Francisco would be at about 75% vaccination rate, I would say that's great. And that's probably high enough to prevent any kind of surge here. And that turned out to be wrong, and it turned out to be wrong because of this Delta variant. That was not the player 2 months ago. It is the main player now, and it's much better at its job than the old virus. And so even in a place like the Bay Area where vaccination rates are really high, unfortunately, they're not high enough to completely prevent a surge. Our surges will be less than Florida and less than Missouri and less than Alabama. There'll be fewer people hospitalized, but we are having something of a surge, and we are having a bump in hospitalizations. I don't think we're going to get overrun, but I think we're definitely in a worse place than we were a couple of months ago.
Yeah, and Dr. Wachter, I think that's where the frustration is, right? If you've got 75% of people vaccinated, right? A lot of people said, hey, we did our part. And the messaging early on was, if you did your part, you can have some freedom. You don't have to wear your mask. You can be indoors. You can live your life, somewhat normally. And so now I think those vaccinated people are all saying, hey, we did. What is going on that we can't? And will we ever be able to have a normal life if we've already done as much as we can do?
Well, I don't think 75% vaccination is as much as we can do. Unfortunately, we have to get higher. I completely understand the frustration. I'm frustrated too. And I probably was one of those people that said 2 months ago, if we can get up to the rate that we're at now, we'll be in good shape. The problem is this virus has a mind of its own. And as long as it's spreading, it's capable of having variants, and the variants are capable of sometimes being better at their job. So unfortunately, the things change. This virus does some shape shifting, And anything that we thought 3 months ago, we've got to sort of deal with the situation that we have in front of us now. And that is a virus that is better at its job. So we've got to get that rate even higher.
The big elephant in the room right now is August 1st, we've been talking about the back to school, right? You had several superintendents in the Bay Area say, yes, we are going back to in-person learning. And certainly parents and families and students are saying, we got to get back to school. You still have under 12, though, who still can get vaccinated. That may not come until September if we're watching the timelines, and we think that will happen. And so that's the first big, everyone's back in buildings, the masks are required. But how do you think that's going to go, and what should we look at? Because I see stories about pediatric units filling, up more with patients who are getting the virus, and our children need to be safe as well.
Yeah, they do. But I think we learned last year that the health of our children really depends on having them back in school, that it is not costless to their health, keeping them at home for another year. So we do know that the kids can get infected, but the rates are lower. We can keep them safe if everybody around them is vaccinated and everybody in the school is masked, and we do some simple things like better ventilation. I think we have to do that. We have not reached a stage of spread, nor have we seen bad cases in kids at a level that would say we have to keep the schools closed.
That's the game
changer. It is harmful.
And
it's
you're
harmful.
fine. So you're good with them coming back. And absolutely, the mental health and the everything. So
yeah, I
impactful.
think weighing all the facts together, I think you say you have to get the schools open.
Okay, so long term, we were saying let's beat the virus. And now it feels like we're like, let's live with the virus. How can we live with the virus and it be as safe as possible? Is that where you're feeling now? I mean, it was let's get rid of it. We get vaccinated, this thing can't go. But it's Delta now. What is it tomorrow? When you talk about 3 months from now or things like that, are we talking now about how do we live with this? Is similar to how we live. I don't want to make the flu comparison because it's been a bad comparison, but similar to other viruses that have been in our society and we can't get rid of.
Yeah, I don't think there's any realistic hope that we will not have this virus in our future. I think the realistic hope is that we will get rates of vaccination and, unfortunately, natural infection. People who don't get vaccinated almost certainly are going to get infected with this bug. It's just too infectious. At a point where it will dampen down the virus. I do think that boosters are in our future for at least some of us. And I think we'll get to a rate where we're back to a really good place, but it's going to require more immunity than we thought a couple of months ago.
I know. So in a couple of months, what timeline am I looking at now before I feel like?
Well, it looks like the Delta does a funny thing, which is spike and get really nasty over the course of 4, 6, 8 weeks. And then it seems to come down pretty quickly. It's like a wildfire. It kind of burns through and then goes down. So that's what's happened in the UK. It's happened in other countries. So I think there's a decent chance we'll be in good shape at the end of September. But that will not let us out of, that doesn't let us off the hook. It's possible we'll have another surge in the winter unless we take the next couple of months and get vaccination rates up much higher than they are now.
Well, let's hope that the trend we're seeing with increased vaccination continues. Dr. Bob Wachter, thank you so much for this conversation. Very important, and thank you for giving us the perspective we need.
My pleasure.